Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 220 of the Well Done Life podcast. And hello, welcome back to episode 220 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I hope that you will stay for a very long time. If you've been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to rock with me. I wouldn't be here without you, so thank you. Before we get started with this week's episode, it's really important to me to be really foundational. If you've been here before, you kind of know that I really like to talk about how what we're creating here is like a house. It's like a safe space. And with that safe space, this house has to be built on two very important things, and that is clarity and love. Clarity and love are the foundations of what the Well Done Life brand is about. With clarity, it's really just about making sure that you understand that I created this brand for women. I believe in the power of women. I believe in the power of sharing our stories. So it's very important to me and a part of my assignment from God to share my journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, so that I hopefully will inspire you to see that there is nothing that one, that you cannot overcome. Two, that the mistakes that you've made are not going to end it all, that they are not always the things that deter us from being able to be the best versions of ourselves. They actually help us pivot sometimes into even better versions of ourselves that we couldn't even imagine. And hopefully will inspire you to share your journey, because I think that's the thing that we have to remember as people, as women, that when we give truth to power, when we share our journeys with each other, we empower all others to be better, to do better, and we have to be willing to stand in our truth. And so hopefully you will feel safe in this space. This space is about celebrating you, all of you, no matter what. We laugh, we cry, we share, we grow. And I also love to spotlight other women in the community who are doing amazing things as well. I know it's been a lot of me lately. It's just where the season that I've been in, but I promise you, there are always going to be other amazing women that I will bring through this platform, because this space is for all of us. And truly, I hope that you will feel seen, loved, and valued and supported on the journey with me. And then that leads me into my second foundation. Is the favorite foundation. It's the thing I love because I'm a sucker for love. I love love. I will believe in love. And so everything we do here will be rooted in it. And with that, I think it's really important that I send prayers. That's really important to me, because I want you to know that when I am thinking and praying, I'm not just praying for the immediate people I love, my family and my friends. I'm praying for you, because I truly believe that I'm not the only one out here praying for each other, and that our prayers are magnified and do amazing things. So, of course, my foundational prayer, I'm just going to go ahead and create it as a foundational prayer, because I say it every week, is peace. I have to pray that you are finding your peace. The world is moving pretty quickly. The year is going by like crazy. I mean, it's already May. I felt like we just looked up and it was January, but it's been a fast whirlwind ride. And so I want you to make sure that you are prioritizing peace for yourself, that you are taking moments where you can breathe, where you can regulate your body and your mind, so that you can take care of yourself mentally and physically and spiritually. Because if you're not doing all those things, you can't take care of yourself financially and in other ways. You can survive, but I'm not praying for you just to survive. I'm praying for you to thrive. And with thriving comes peace. So I want you to have pockets of peace, no matter what that looks like. And sometimes peace does not look like some big intentional thing for myself. I like to be very honest. Sometimes I find peace just in sitting in my car after coming back from a drop off or an errand that needed to be run by myself for a few moments in time. Find peace wherever it can be. It doesn't have to be, like I said, the grandiose thing. Just find it, take it, claim it, grab it, and make it yours, because those little moments add up into bigger moments, and it will help you be able to take care of you. And that's the most important thing to me. So I hope that you will have peace. Along the line with peace this week, I'm also praying that you have power to stand in yourself, to stand in your power. And we're going to talk about that this week with the unapologetic no. But when I'm saying stand in your power, again, that could be being unapologetic about your no. If you are in a season where like I said, things are busy and you are feeling pulled in multiple directions, I want you to feel good about saying no to another obligation or request that doesn't honor you in that space. I want you to feel good about saying yes in something that does honor you, that does maybe even challenge you to step outside of that space, of that space of comfort, that space that you know it all. Maybe you're ready to learn something new and an opportunity is being presented to you and you are kind of, mulling it over, not because you don't think that you can do it, but you're mulling it over because you're afraid of taking a chance on yourself. I want you to stand in the power of saying that you can say yes if it honors you, if it stretches you, if it allows you to feel something different. You have the ability to do that. It's just all about standing in the power of what honors you at that particular moment in time. And so I am sending you prayers that you are able to tap into yourself. That's why peace is so important, so that you are able to either be unapologetic with your no or stand in the power of being able to say yes with a resounding thought, even if your voice is shaking. So I pray that you are able to stand in your power as well as have peace. And then, of course, I always will want you to have love. I'm definitely sending you prayers of love. I'm talking about good love, not just relational love. I do hope that you have a beautiful relationship that is loving, caring, and full of laughter. I have to admit, lately I find myself thinking a lot about that in regards to my own relationship, how blessed I am to have so much laughter. Like we are two clowns together, and I'm so grateful for him because I need that. He makes me not always be so serious sometimes, as reforming or reformed A-type personality person, a boss, as they like to say. And I'm still a boss. I'm trying to be a little bit more balanced with it. I digress, but I still find it hard sometimes to just, be. And sometimes just laugh about things. And I'm finding now that I am taking more pleasure in the laughter, taking more pleasure in recognizing that it's all just not going to be what it's going to be. Sometimes it's going to be raggedy and I'm going to be okay with it being raggedy because I don't have much more energy to give, but that's okay because the laughter, the joy that these moments are bringing me is enough to sustain me. And I'm really grateful that I have a partner who allows us to have those moments. Even in seriousness, we always find some levity. Like, it's amazing. And I'm just very grateful. So love, if you're listening, I love you. And thank you for giving me those laughter and joy. And I hope that you are in love. So I hope you are surrounded in really good love. But I'm also talking about, friendship love. I mean, being surrounded with your girls, the ones that you can laugh with and talk with and cry with and just, just be with, strategize with. I just want you to have a team. I am praying for that. And to all my friends, I love y'all. If you're listening, I just want you to know how much I love you, how grateful I am. And if you have those same kind of friends, those same kind of feeling about people, I hope that this week you'll let them know how much you love them, how grateful you are for them. It can be through text, voice note, and conversation too. Don't feel guilt. We don't have guilt in these relationships. We are unapologetically loving on each other in the capacity that we have available at that particular point in time. So don't feel away. Just give the love. Just give the love. So I want you surrounded in love on all levels, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And then rounding out my prayers this week, I'm also praying for you to have abundance. I want you to be blessed financially. That's always going to be important to me. But I do, like I said, hope that you have peace and are able to stand in the power of you and surrounded in love and just feel abundant in your spirit, that you feel abundant emotionally, that you feel abundant physically, that you are pouring back into yourself physically, taking care of yourselves. And that just reminded me, I owe you guys an update on where I am in regards to my health journey, and just how things are going, because I haven't talked about it in a little bit. So not this week, but maybe next week we'll talk a little bit more about it. It's definitely ongoing. Being healthy is not for the weak. So that's why I always say, I want you to be abundant physically, because we all want to have and acquire so many things and just do and go all the places. The best thing that I can tell you that I've seen is health. Health is the most valuable asset that we can have. Don't let anyone ever tell you something differently, because you need to value it. So we will have more of a conversation about that. But again, going back to the prayers, I want you to be surrounded on abundance in abundance on all levels of your life. So those are my prayers for you this week, and I hope you feel my heart and my energy because I truly want the best for you. I am very excited to be recording on Saturday, May the 3rd at 2:31 p.m. It has been quite a heck of a week, super busy, and I was actually even questioning whether or not I was going to be able to come here, but I'm glad I'm here. I always say that, but I really mean that, y'all, because it's like this is my space where, I can pour my heart out, I can just be, and this is healing me. And hopefully it gives me the energy to send that same healing love back to you. I want to thank everyone for their support of episode 219, Blessed in Spite of Me. It's just been something that's been in my heart lately. I feel like God has been truly leaning into me about my faith and just tying back into my goals and the word. And so a lot of the messages that I've been talking about lately are just, things that I've been coming into, seasons of gratitude, seasons of thought, and just understanding the power of our faith. Especially, I think sometimes, like with everything that we have going on in our lives, we sometimes get so caught up, or maybe it's just me, I get so caught up in doing that I have to take a moment to get caught up in the gratitude that I have to be able to do the things that I can do. I was talking to a friend today, and her daughter is getting ready to graduate from college this week. And it is just such a beautiful accomplishment, because I remember when this young lady was walking around my living room in her underwear because she was just that chill of a young child. I mean, elementary school. And to sit here and think that I have seen this young woman grow and evolve into a mighty woman of God who is about to graduate from Howard University this coming week. And I'm very excited for Ms. Eja Richardson. She's going to do amazing things in the world, and she is such a powerful person in God. I have to leave her Instagram. She is such a motivator. She is so on fire for God. It is just so beautiful. I'll leave it in the show notes for you, but we were talking about it, and of course, there's always lots of plans and details that have to get done. And my friend, she's a very prominent position, and she's got to travel for work this week, and then she's not going to eat, like she'll be gone and then be flying in the morning of her daughter's graduation, and her husband's going to be on the ground handling things, just like a good team. And it's like, wow, we're doing all the things. And it just reminded me about, how obviously when you're doing all the things, it gets super expensive, and you have to do these things because, adulting is expensive. It's ghetto and expensive. And you just have to sometimes take a moment to sit in the gratitude of how grateful you are to be in the position that you can do it. Like, yes, you don't want to do it, but you can do it. Like, it's not like you're in a position of coming from lack. You're coming in from a position of, I have the resources to take care of it. I just don't want to have to give it out. And you have to flip that mindset, and being able to flip that mindset into a moment of gratitude. Like, thank you, God. And sometimes I feel like more of those moments need to occur, because many of us are in the position where God has set us up that, yes, we have different things that we have to take care of, different, goals, but God has given us the ability to do it without having to really break a sweat, really be able to even put it off, like you can handle it. And I just feel like we have to give more glory to God for being in those positions versus focusing on the inconvenience, focus on the gratitude. And so, that's why I was kind of wanted to talk about being blessed in spite of me, because in spite of everything, God has made it a way for me to come through. And I just had to make sure that I say thank you, because I want you to always remember that as you're going through, if God brought you to it, he's going to bring you through it. And so you have to always remember that in spite of your fears and limiting thoughts and behaviors, God is still blessing you in spite of you, and live in that season of gratitude. But this week, I'm kind of pivoting, maybe sort of pivoting. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about the unapologetic no. That's actually what the title of this episode is, Unapologetic No, honoring what feels right. Because I've kind of just been sitting in a season of observation this week, not just for myself, but what I see with friends and what I see going on in the world. And I just feel like I think people need to have a reminder. I know sometimes I need a reminder about the importance of being unapologetic in our no. And and the reason I'm talking about it is not because I think we need to be just telling people no more often, but I think what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is that it's time for us to talk about the overextension that a lot of us are going through. Like, a lot of us are trying to do everything for everybody. The expectations that we're trying to live up to because we want to be perceived in someone's eyes as just being the most always open person, the most available, always the one that comes through, the perceived strong friend. I have to admit, as a person who I think has been perceived as a strong friend, I think my strength is now being shown in the power of me being able to preserve my peace versus me trying to be Sister Super Saber Ho and save everybody. And I'm very grateful that I feel like the friends that I surround myself with are also in that same season. And so I wanted to talk about it because I think that, again, like I said, we need a reminder that being unapologetic with our no is not a bad thing. No matter what society might say, no matter what your mama might say, no matter what the world might say. And yes, I did say no matter what your mama might say, because we're not living the same generation that our parents were living. We're living our generation and our truth right now. I just want to make sure, again, like I said, that I remind you that no is not negative. It is a declaration of self-respect. It is a declaration of saying that I don't want to be like you. And there's nothing wrong with your journey. I love your journey. Your journey helped get me to where I am right now. But that doesn't mean that I have to live that same journey. And so I've decided that I want to live my life a little bit differently. So I want to talk about it. So let's kind of break it down piece by piece. And let's talk about it from the standpoint of, why first, because it has to be talked about, why no sometimes feels so hard. And I'm saying sometimes because to me, sometimes no is super easy. Like, I can say no, feel good about it. I'm 10 toes down about it, especially when it's something that just doesn't align with my spirit. But sometimes when it's something that doesn't align with my spirit and is told to me or asked of me by someone that I love, the no starts to feel hard. And the no starts to feel hard because I think about it from a cultural standpoint, probably from even generational conditioning. We were raised in a lot of instances to be agreeable, to be accountable, or to be strong. Like, I think about it, I come from a long lineage of strong Black women. Like, I did a lot of women who broke their back to make sure that their family was taken care of and provided for. I think I've even told you guys like a little bit of the story of my maternal grandmother. She was burned over 70% of her body. She was in a physically abusive relationship with my grandfather, and she was unrelenting though in her care and love of her family. And she would say no, but she never said no to that. Like, she wasn't, she didn't walk away. She stayed in a situation that wasn't ideal because there was love there, because she felt, I believe, conditioned that was all she could have. I mean, there's a long history of things that she endured, and she was just such a strong woman. But that was what society conditioned us to be, especially as Black women. We stayed. There was nowhere else to go. I mean, we had to be there. But I think about as we have evolved and as society has allowed us to turn. And if I think about it, obviously, women are stronger as women. We are much stronger. But then at the same time, you still have people out here who, kind of make women feel guilty about being strong. Obviously, they're the podcast bros who are always out here, condemning the strong woman. That's why you strong. I've heard people say you're so strong that you by yourself, which is insane. Because sometimes women are by themselves a lot of times because we choose to be by ourselves. It has nothing to do with strength. It's easier to be sometimes by myself than to deal with the crazy that comes sometimes with some of these people. And I'm not saying all men. There are wonderful men out there like, hey, baby, I got one. I'm grateful. But then there are also the flip side of brothers who act like a strong woman is a detriment versus understanding that strong woman could be a compliment. It can be a helpmate. It can be a saver. It can be a builder if you have the right type of environment and mindset going into that relationship. But that's a whole nother conversation. A lot of times as women, like I said, we are made to feel like we can't be anything else. We can't be strong. We have to be agreeable. We have to be accommodating, because the moment that we start to be anything different, you push back on us, which in turn at times can create these fears inside of us as women about being too selfish. Am I being ungrateful? Am I being too much? And I have to admit, I don't even understand what too much is. Too much doesn't even make sense, because really it's just about having boundaries. It's just about making sure that you're trying to take care of yourself. And I know for myself, I have been in situations from a relational or trying to be relational standpoint where I have dealt with men who have found it really challenging dating me or dealing with me. And I even think about that sometimes even from a friendship perspective, because I was maybe a little too strong for some folks. And, they felt like, when I said no, it was like a personal attack against them. And my no is never personal. My no is about me protecting myself and giving myself space to be honest and truthful. And to me, it's about understanding that why would you allow yourself to be in relationship with people where you don't feel safe enough to be honest with your no? If you have to be accommodating, if you have to bend, those aren't the type of relationships that you have to be in. You should be in, because you deserve better than that. You deserve to be in spaces where you are loved and to be valued. And that's something that's sometimes really hard for us, because like I said, sometimes those situations are tied to people that we really love. And it's very hard to let go of someone that you love, but sometimes you have to let it go. And I've had to let go of relationships. I think about it like with my brother, my late brother. He and I had a very complex relationship. It was very manipulative in a way. It was very toxic to the point where, he admitted that he was just using me for money. It wasn't love associated with it. And I don't necessarily think he 100% meant it because we were arguing, but it was just like to even be able to articulate that is how you feel. It shows such a lack of empathy and care. And all I was trying to do in my mind was care for you and love you. And I had to distance myself from that relationship because I felt myself getting emotionally and physically just ill from being surrounded by him. And so unfortunately for at least about a year or two before he passed away, we were very strained. Like we could talk in small doses, but it wasn't a lot of conversation because I just got tired. And I was just like, I don't need this kind of negativity, this kind of energy in my life. And I mean, toward the end, we were able to kind of resolve it, but we resolved it because he wasn't that same person after being sick and his mindset had shifted. And because I had been praying a lot and talking about it in therapy, like I have to create boundaries and I have to stand 10 toes down on my boundaries. And I had to let go of the fear of losing my relationship with my brother and tie into the faith that God would see us through it, and that at the same time that I wasn't selfish for leaving a situation that didn't honor me. And when I say I left it, I mean that boy sometimes would go from pillar to post trying to have a place to stay. But I was like, I cannot do it. I can't save you because you don't want to be saved. I have to let you go through and I have to love you from a distance. And it was hard, but it helped me preserve my peace. And when he passed, it gave me peace to know that I did not have to lay down my boundaries in order for you to live. We could still have love, and I could still have love because I forgave you, but I didn't have to allow you to violate and destroy me in the process. I mean, I'm kind of talking around it, but I hope you understand. Essentially what I'm saying is that, it's hard, but your no is so worth it that you deserve to honor it in all circumstances, even with family. And so even though now we've talked about why saying no feels so hard, let's talk about the power of the unapologetic no. And when I say unapologetic, what I mean, an unapologetic no looks like being direct, being clear, and grounded in self-trust. That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's talking about understanding that my no means no. I mean, we hear it all the time. No means no. No is a complete sentence. It's not like people don't say it, but to actually believe it is a totally different thing. And you have to understand that saying no actually affirms that you are 10 toes down about your values, that you are 10 toes down about preserving your peace. And if you're not able to do that, I think that that is an indication that we have to go back and clarify exactly what our boundaries are. Because remember, no is a way of protecting your energy. And why should your energy suffer? Why should you allow yourself to be out of alignment with your purpose for the sake of other people? And really, I mean, no is liberating. I know sometimes it can feel so good when you say no, especially to foolishness. I mean, God knows we are all in situations where we are going to have foolishness possibly thrown in our way, in our face on a daily basis. Because, people sometimes like to ask ridiculously stupid questions. And I'm not judging anyone by saying that, but you know what you know. You know when you have somebody come at you the wrong way and you're just like, no. And you mean it, like dead center no. But the problem always goes back to when it's someone that you love. And in those moments, I know for myself, when I've had someone that I love ask me a stupid question and I'm like, I instantly want to say no. And I say no because at this age, I'm not going to pretend. It just rolls right out. No rolls out. Or really, actually, all the thoughts in my head roll right out. I don't know. It's like after 40, you start to lose what I like to call your fuckometer or your bandwidth. And I apologize if I'm offending people, but I really just can't say it. The fresh out of fucks, like your fucks diminish after 40. Like they just start just going. I'm 52. So believe me, I'm at the cusp of end of zero of fuckery. So now you can catch me sometimes and I don't have like the guardrail on, as I like to call it. And people will say something to me that sounds wild and crazy. And I'll instantly say no. Or really? What? Huh? What were you thinking? And I'm like, ooh, for real, I'm so sorry. Like I've even caught myself doing that in the workplace, which is crazy. Like I do not say, obviously I don't cuss or anything like that, but I'd be like, no. And they were like, wow, that was really quick. And I'm just like, no. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry about being so abrupt. But the reason I'm saying no is, and I have to, come up with an answer that feels kind and considerate and while at the same time preserving my peace and my boundaries. But it's just this operation of realizing this moment, where it's like, I mean, no. And it is so liberating. I'm literally liberated in my mind. And so no is one of those things now where it's like, it feels good. Like I said, though, it's sometimes the hardest part always becomes, being able to say no to the people that we love. That's always the hard part. And in those moments, I kind of take a breath and think about why this person is asking me the thing that they're asking me. And I ask questions. That helps me kind of give myself a moment before I say something out of pocket. And I will notoriously ask you several questions because I want to make sure that I understand, one, why you're coming to me. And two, it also gives me an opportunity to suss out, is this coming from a genuine place? Because, the vibes don't lie. I'm not going to pretend. The vibes don't lie. And so I do find myself sometimes if I have to ask people multiple questions, it's either because you're not answering my question in the most direct way, and I feel that you are holding something from me, or there is some type of motive behind that you are not trying to express, and I need you to express it so that I can have clear understanding, because clarity is here. Clarity is always here. And that's what helps me stay so unapologetic about my no. But sometimes, like I said, I backslide, some like everybody else. And that's why, again, I'm getting a little bit of this reminding through this reminder that I'm giving you about the power and the liberation in being able to say no, because we deserve to honor our boundaries. And along that line, that leads me into talking about, let's talk about honoring what feels right. Let's talk about the fact that when we want to say no to something, how it feels inside of our body. Because when someone a lot of times comes at us with something really wild and weird, I don't know about you, but I instantly feel the energy. I feel it. I feel the energy. I feel like a tension in my body. And you have to honor those things. Those are your body's receptors, their ways, like little spidey senses of telling you like, nah, there's some bullshit coming. And you need to be prepared for it, or something ain't right. And you need to question it. Honor those things, and build trust in it, because remember that is a part of the discernment that God gives us. Like, God gives us discernment. It's just up to us whether or not we utilize it, because remember, we live in a cycle of free choice. Like, God did not just give us this all imposing will where he just commands us. He said, no, I love you so much that I give you choice. And so in that but with that choice, I also give you wisdom. And so you have to learn how to tap into that. And I know some people, still doubt it, and doubt is normal, but you have to figure out ways to like sit with yourself so that you can allow yourself to hear the discernment that is being spoken into you. A lot of times that's found through stillness. And that's why I always prioritize finding peace in our prayers, taking deep breaths, regulating your body, giving yourself space to operate from a place of clarity and ease versus tension and stress. Because you don't want to make permanent decisions in temporary situations. And a lot of times that also can be something that you talk through it with yourself through journaling. Sometimes it is easier to write down the thoughts and read them and breathe through them, because then you can have a space to kind of really see, how you're really making decisions. And then ultimately, the one that I have to admit I lean on quite a bit is prayer. I talk to God a lot. Like, God and I are cool. Jesus and I are tight. Like, we have conversations all the time. And I just want to sit sometimes in stillness. And I find personally for myself, one of my favorite times is right before I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Like, I'll hang up when I'm talking to my baby, because I love to talk to him before I go to sleep. And then after I talk to him, I talk to God, and I give myself a moment to breathe, a moment of stillness before I close my eyes for the night. And I pray, and I ask God to just grant me clarity, to allow me in my rest to be able to see things that I may need to see, to be imparted into, because then in my rest, in my ease, in my stillness, I can hear him. And I give myself the space to honor what is right. It's very important to be able to honor what feels right. And that is a part of why you can be unapologetic in your no, because again, you are giving yourself space to honor what you know in your heart feels right. Give yourself that time, give yourself that energy. And if the no feels right, then go with it. And just like I said, if a yes feels right, then recognize that, because you want to be able to recognize when you're saying yes out of fear or obligation or performance, because that's not honoring to you. And I think a lot of times we say yes because it's easy, but what do you have to give up in that easy yes? That really is a question to ask yourself. You're going to say yes, but you feel like you want to say no. And because yes is the easiest thing for you to do in this moment. But what are you giving up in that? What is that yes to really costing you? Because it's not free. It's not. No actually would have been free, but yes is going to cost you something emotionally. And so you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth that? And if it's not, then that kind of leads me into, understanding that it's okay to say no. You should stand on no, but to say no with grace and without apology. Because I think the simple things are to understand is that, when you are saying no, it doesn't mean that you're trying to hurt someone's feelings. It doesn't mean that you are, not empathetic to what they're going through. It's just you have made a decision at this point that it just doesn't feel right for you. And so literally it can be just that simple to say to someone, I'm choosing to focus on what feels right for me right now, and this doesn't feel right. Or it's simply that's something I can't take on right now. How many of us really want to say that, especially in work environments or like even with family situations? Sometimes, people need help or projects or for you to do things. I've had friends talk about, my aunt or my niece wants to come and live in my home because, they're graduating for college and I'm the one who's got the bigger home with the room. So she wants to come and live in my house with me. She's trying to build a plan, but that's just not something that I don't want to do right now. It's not that I don't want to see her succeed. It's not that I don't want her to be the best version of her, but I'm at a space right now in my healing journey where I just don't want to do that. And there is nothing wrong with that. But being able to find the ability to say that to someone without it hurting them feelings can be just as simple as saying that, I value where you are and I know that you are going to do amazing things. But unfortunately, that's just not something I can take on right now. Because you want to make sure that you get to a point when you are unapologetic with your no, when you are choosing to say no with grace without apology, where you do not have explain yourself too much. And I have to admit for myself, that is one of the hardest things for me to do. Like I will say no to going to an invite that I got, and it just unfortunately doesn't align with what I have going on at that particular point in time of the day. And I'm not willing to move these things around because they need to get taken care of just so that I can go to this event. And so I have, been that person to try to write out the litany, email, text, whatever, explaining why I can't go, because you feel that natural urge to try to justify yourself so that the other person doesn't feel bad. But then again, what is that justification costing us? What it's costing us is costing us the ability to honor ourselves. And so I wind up starting all over with my message and just saying, unfortunately, that's not something I can commit to right now. I have other obligations, but thank you for the invite. I hope that you'll consider me next time, and keep it pushing. And I've recognized that no one has ever come back at me and said, oh, that's not a good enough explanation, or, oh, I really needed you to be there, and dot, 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 dot. Again, I think sometimes we give ourselves too much props and don't recognize that people are not worried about us. We are worried about what people think about us, but people aren't worried about us. And by saying no, standing unapologetically in the no, that's okay. And if they felt a way, they'll let you know when you can talk about it. But if they don't feel a way, keep it pushing and honor the fact that you didn't do something that didn't feel right. You said no because it didn't make sense for you and you were good. Because again, I think it's important to stand in our truth, because when we are honest about ourselves and what we're feeling, I find to me that boundaries and being truthful about our boundaries will actually make your relationships better. They don't weaken them, because it's really important for us to remember that people love the truth. They do. Some people don't like the truth. Now, don't get me wrong, but most people, they like the truth. And those people that like the truth, that value it, will respect you so much more for honoring yourself and not putting yourself in a position to do something that doesn't feel good, that doesn't give you a sense of accomplishment or doesn't give you a sense of enjoyment. And they'll feel good about it, because you have to think about it. A lot of times when we do things that we don't want to do, we go into these events, these spaces, these places with that same energy. And that energy speaks so loud that why would we even put ourselves through that? Just be honest. And even if you're able to pull off a fakery, because I know somebody is out here saying, well, I can pull it off, and they can't tell. What is it costing you by having to fake it? What is that costing you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically? Because it all has a cost. Anytime we have built up resentments, anytime we have built up anxiety, anytime we have built up fear, all we're doing is increasing our stress, which in turn is increasing the cortisol within our body. Cortisol turns into fat. So again, you could be actually being detrimental to your health long term because you are not honoring yourself. You're not doing what feels right. So you have to value yourself more than that. And that's why I said, a lot of times being honest and truthful has so many different benefits. It's a holistic approach. Everything works together for your good. Don't ever forget that, including the power of your no. And then closing this out, I feel like, a lot of times people forget that, you are not the first person in your family to say no. Big Mama and them, I know my mama and them, our ancestors, they said no. They had the power of no. They didn't always say no, but they did say no. It's not like this is some new event. Give yourself the space to recognize that no is not about being rebellious. No is not about being hard or difficult. No is about your boundaries, about the value that you place in you. And so you have to ask yourself, where in your life are you being invited to say no without apology? And really think about that. And think about where you can actually say no this week in a way that honors your peace. I mean, really, it's so important because, again, it's about being in this season where we honor who we are, where we honor ourselves. The world is the world. Things are going to keep going on. There is nothing that we can do. But the best thing that we can do, the one thing that we can do, the one thing that we can control is ourselves and our peace and our happiness. And so you have to remember that you are worth it. So the one thing that I want to leave you with is this little affirmation. My no is sacred. My peace is worth protecting. Don't sacrifice your peace. Remember, your no is worth it. It is sacred. You are sacred. Protect yourself at all costs and thrive. So that is why I want you to be unapologetic with your no, because unapologetic no feels so good. Just like unapologetic yes feels even better. So that's the episode this week. I hope it encourages you to stand in the power of your no and to really think about what you can do to honor your peace a little bit more this week. And I really would love if you could share with me any stories or tag my podcast online with any moments where you stood in your no this week and you were unapologetic about it. Because I would love to support and encourage you. So that is, like I said, it. I will have all of my information in the show notes, as well as I will link last week's episode as well, just in case you need a little encouragement about being blessed in spite of you. You are an amazing source of light. Don't ever deny your power or your blessings or the favor that's on you. And I will be back next week with a brand new episode. Well, actually, rewind. I will not be back next week with a new episode. I am actually going to take next week off. I am traveling this week. I'm going to New York to spend some time with my love. I have a concert that I'm going to be attending. I'm really excited about it. And so I will probably be out and about a little bit on the socials, but I will not be back next week. I will be back the week after though, because this week is all about connection and love. So I hope that you will have some connection, some love, some peace, some power, and some unapologetic no's and some unapologetic yeses. And I hope that this is a wonderful week of you honoring you. And I will talk to you guys when I am back the week after next. And so please, I hope you enjoy the rest of this Sunday. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And I will talk to you soon.